your left.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Giannis and Dame together is not something that's not new. I think 120 something regular season games, but this is their first playoff game together. So what? You're down on one. I don't know. Can you get excited about things? Just what does it mean to have?
No, I'm
him
always
back?
excited. It doesn't show. I mean, no, really, it's awesome. I mean, listen, who I think Dame would play is the fact that he's playing is is exciting enough to me. When we first got this news, when you hear blood clot, the last thing you think is him playing, maybe not ever, let alone in the playoffs. So this is a blessing for us, obviously. Don't know what Dame can give us. But it does, I would like to say, it does speak a lot about him because he's only had 3 days of, it's not like when you have a blood clot, you're out there, doing cardio. So he's had 3 days, and with the medical team and Dame called me and said, I'm playing. And that just speaks a lot about him. A lot of people wouldn't go out there and, without the practice and have the timing and think they can just go out there. But he says, I want to play, and we're all good for it.
So Doc, this is kind of uncharted territory, right? So,
Yeah.
so when he is out there, what are kind of the things you're assessing to see, how to manage his minutes and what he can and can't
Yeah,
do?
it's a great question. I guess the best way to say it is lungs. I'm gonna watch him. I told him. We had a long talk about it this morning, and it is uncharted. And so. I'm gonna ask him to be honest, and I'm gonna have to be honest with him at times too. I got a feeling in this game, and so that's all we're gonna monitor. I should hopefully can tell when he's tired, and then we'll take him out. And the biggest question, sorry, for us is the recovery after you reach, and so the trick is trying not to get him to that point of exhaustion at any point, because then it's hard to come back. And so that's the trick we're going to try to do tonight, and I can't tell you what that means.
Does that mean you're going to start him or bring him off the bench?
No, I'm going to start him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess just for you guys last game, I think Giannis takes 5 fouls in the first 8 minutes,
Yeah.
13 for the game.
Yeah.
How much is his willingness to take that beating going to mean in this series? Because it's clear that they are willing to follow him and send him to the line.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to continue to do it. I think he will. I think that's a normal game for Giannis. I don't think that's anything different. I didn't think they were fouling any more than anyone else fouls. Heck, I thought he got fouled more than he went to the foul line. I've always had an issue, and I don't hate getting into the officials thing, but I do because he goes to the line so much. By third quarter, I'm always telling the officials, you can't get tired of calling it. The old theory is if you foul them a lot early, they'll just stop calling it, and that happens a lot. And officials will tell me, well, you guys have 10 more free throws. I said, yeah, and they're fouling 10 more times. So we deserve that. But it is human for you to stop calling them. And so I like, he rarely complains, he keeps doing it, and that's good for us.
Doc, you talked a lot over the last month just about how Dame has been present around your guys.
Yeah.
But when he puts that uniform on, what type of aura does that bring to your locker room?
Well, I think they'll listen to him more. That's for sure. Players tend to listen to guys in the uniform more than guys without a uniform, and that's universal. They don't care who it is, But the fact that he's been around us does help. A lot of injuries, especially the one Dame has or had. I don't even know if it's an injury, so whatever we want to call it. Guys usually want to get away and aren't around. They want to train in silence, and he didn't do that. He chose to make sure he was around the guys, even though he wasn't training. I think in the long run, that has to have some dividends, or pay some dividends for us for sure.
Doc, when someone returns in the playoffs, when winning is more paramount,
Yeah.
do you go away from any sort of minutes restrictions and lean more on playing guys, or do you have to still be very cognizant of that kind of
You
thing?
have to be cognizant always of minutes. You just have to, because if guys are tired, they're tired. They can't play tired. And Give me a fresh body, a guy that can get to a loose ball, a guy that can defend better. You know, that's the thing that always breaks down when you get tired. It's not on the offensive end. They're going to still shoot the ball. It's on the other end. And against this team, we just can't afford that. And that's the difficult part with Dame. When that playing I can't remember the year I played the Knicks, but whenever I was playing for the Knicks, we're not playing that slow team. We're playing a team that wants to get up and down the floor.
Oh, maybe it's a little off that, but not so much Dame in minutes, but what is your patience level, I guess, with play and lineups? Like, I guess, you know, if to go down 0-2, you don't want to be there, right? So in terms of if a guy isn't playing well or something just isn't working, generally speaking, when do you like, okay, we don't have...
There's no set. Yeah, it's no set to that, you know. It depends on who it is a lot of times. You know, if Giannis is 0 for 6, should I just, you know what, I'm not going to play him anymore. You know what I mean? Like, so it does. Some of the guys have built up equity in the way they play, and you trust them. You know, if a shooter's missing wide open shots, I'm not going to go away from him. He hasn't forgotten how to shoot. And one goes in, and it can all turn. So it's always a very, it's a fine line. It just is.
Brooks had some really good success against the Pacers inside the arc. I think he's 20 of 24 throughout the regular season, 3 or 4 on Saturday.
Yeah.
How important is it to get him going early on in the first quarter?
Well, it's important just to get him going. You know, like he didn't see the ball enough. You know, we like him inside the arc. We like him rolling. We like Brooklyn. You know, that's what we call him when he's inside the arc. You know, and he has to be that. But we watched them film. There were 5 times where he had a guy just dead on his back and the ball never got there. So that was on us. That's not an adjustment for us, but that's how we have to play.
Doc, it seemed like they were the aggressors.
The whole
in
game.
1. What role does physicality play in game 2 for you?
I don't know. I mean, it's a factor every night. It just is. But it was clear who the aggressor was. There was no doubt about that. It started on a jump ball, first play of the game. He just jumped in front of us and took the ball away from us. I thought that set the tone for the entire game. But I thought every tough play they made, they did, I'm being honest. And from a coaching standpoint, that's tough to see. You know, you think you have your guys ready, and that doesn't turn out that way. So we have to be ready tonight for sure.
Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, guys.